to talk to you today about chenille yarns and textured yarns and what they are, how they're made, what you do with them, where you can put them, whether you can wear as jewellery, whatever. But it's mainly about chenille yarns. So, I have some I prepared earlier. Ta-da! Right, so chenille yarns are a type of yarn and it is made in a specific way. I'll get to that in a moment. So I just thought I'd show you. Oh, the cat's woken up. Anyway, she'll sing to us as well. They come in all different types and thicknesses, and they are used for mostly toys and blankets. You can do clothes with them. It's not done as much. You do get a lot of jumpers during winter with chenille. The problem is they don't last very long because chenille is quite soft. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how they're a small demonstration of how they're made, accompanied by the soundtrack of the cat. Okay, so we will move across to the other camera. Right, these here are pipe cleaners. That's what we call them in Australia. I think they're called chenille sticks in America, but I could be wrong. So how they're made on the machines is they have these two strings, yarn strings, and they're generally made of cotton because cotton is strong. And in the machine, they put them in like this and they twist. And then they get their, whatever they're using as fluff, and they put it in between them. And then they twist. And then they put another one in between them. And they twist again. And each time they do this, it is twisting in the same direction, because otherwise it would come apart. So now we do another twist. Like this. And then another twist. I'm going to put them all in because I need to show you the way they finish it off. And I got my thumb over it. I will show you in a minute. So we're still twisting the same direction, and each twist they put another bit of fluff in. And another bit of fluff. Right, so there is no knots in this piece I've created. And that's why when you use needles to weave your ends in, where the needle comes, it sinks right down to the core, and then these things can pull out because there's nothing stopping it. And the last thing they do, before I forget, is that then they twist that so it becomes like a tube shape all the way around. And if I get one of these, you can see the core. Actually, I can spread it apart because there's your core. And I can do that because there's no knots. So your best option is to tie yourself a little knot at the end of your string after you've put your needle on. Do your weaving in and take your needle off, and you'll take half your thread off with it, and then tie another knot. Or you can put a dot of fabric glue. I can't guarantee that one will work, but it's worth a try. And then pull that inside your work or under a stitch. It's a little bit difficult to put the ends in, but it's the best you can do. Right, so now let's talk about labels. Let's get a nice clear label. This one here. Right, so this is called a blanket polyester. Most chenille is made of polyester. This is a 100-gram ball, but you only get 80 meters in it. And if you look, it is quite thick. In comparison to this one here, turn it up the right way so you can see it, right, they are quite different yarns. This one is more like a 4-ply. If you hold them close together, you see the difference. They are the same style of yarn, but vastly different. And on the back, let's put my glasses on so I can read. You have your gauge instructions, right? What these gauge instructions are, they give you information on to make a 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter square. So for this yarn, you need 8 stitches for 13 rows, and it will give you that square if you use an 8mm needle. This is in knitting. For crochet, it's the same size. Sometimes these are different, but for this explanation, it's only 7 stitches single crochets across, but there's 8 rows. There was 13 in this, and it's an 8mm hook. But this only applies to when you are making something flat. With toys and amigurumi, it's different again. With toys, like with this one, it says, let me find the bit of label, here we go. This is a 100-gram ball, and there's 280 meters, and you use a 4mm needles for knitting it, or 5mm hook. And this is also, most gauges on here will always make a 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter square, or a 4-inch square. 15 stitches, 18 stitches, 33 rows, only 16 rows. Okay? But both of them say no heat to be involved with the care of it. Okay? 40 degrees is the highest it recommends. And definitely don't iron them, because if you do a burn test with these, they will melt. I don't think they would stick, because they would have to have a warning on them, but they will melt, and it's not going to be good. And definitely don't iron them, otherwise they won't be very. Okay, other one. Let me show you a different one. This is a nice... sometimes these yarns are also called velvet yarns or velveteen. It's just the feel of it. They're made the same way with a central core. This is a lovely katupu. I'm probably saying that wrong. I don't mind being wrong. And it's got the tinsel. So this one is, once again, polyester with metallic. There is another one in here. Here it is. This one is a Mondial Las Vegas, and this one's a blend. This is cotton, microfiber, and polyester. And if you look at this one, it's quite a bit thinner. There we go. And you see it's like a braid almost, but it is worked the same way as I showed you with the pipe cleaners. Let me see if I can find the other one. I think I picked it up. Okay. All right. So another one that you can come across is this one that was very popular not long ago. You see the Jonah's hands, he made blankets with it and stuff like that. And you work it, basically it's got an imaginary needle in it. So this is your first row, and you come back along and you pull the loops up. Actually, I'm doing it back to front. You go like that. Anyway, you pull the loops through each other, but it is chenille, and that's sewn across the threads. And lastly, I'll show you the largest chenille I've ever come across. And this one. This one is so thick that you could use it as a scarf on its own. And I can show you the core of that one quite well because it's so long. And see, they're just pulled through. That's all it is. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. It was a mill-end, so I can't even tell you what brand it is. But, geez, it's huge. It's like a sea snake or something. Right, so the next thing I want to do is I will show you some work in progresses so you can see what it looks like made up. Okay. Right, so take my glasses off so I can see what I'm doing. First of all, I have my Chuck with his feet. This is a bag that I made. The pattern is from Drops. So if you look it up, it's actually meant to be a bread basket. But anyway, I made it a bag. And what this yarn is, see if I can get it close enough so you can see it. It was like a rainbow chenille. And all I've done is paired it with a black plain yarn. Because it's a bag, you want it to be a bit more hard wearing. So that's the plain yarn there, the black. And I wanted to look like those chooks that you see where they've got like a rainbow sheen to them. I think he turned out well. Nice little handbag. Okay, next one. These up. And that one. Right. This is the one I'm making with that pink I showed you right here. This one here. I am using a 3mm hook, and the holes are a little bit big, but I'm going to do a lot of soft sculpture on this. This is going to be a strawberry panda, and I would actually go down a size if I make it again, but I've already started, so we're going with a 3mm. And I've also got my Encanto inspired bag, and this one I made similar to the chalk, but the plain yarn actually has sequins in it, but I held them together so that it was firmer, because bags need to be hard wearing, especially on the bottoms. But I also lined this one, so I'm quite happy with how that turned out. And the last thing I want to show you is this one here. This is a C2C blanket, corner to corner, in case you don't know, made with the velveteen yarn that you get from the cheap shop a couple of times a year. All right, this is quite thin. See how much you get in, is it going to tell me? There you go, you get 300 meters in this 150 gram ball. So it shows you the variation in the meterage. But with C2C, you really only have to get the first square right, and then you really only have to find the edge of the outside stitch, and it comes out quite good. So it's definitely good for blankets, definitely good for soft toys. You can do amigurumi with it. You just got to be aware of how big your holes are, because amigurumi is based, your shapes in amigurumi are based on how tightly you can get it so that it's a sculptural object rather than just a soft pillow. And yeah, so don't be afraid of using it. And if you have any other questions, write them in the comments. I do try and answer every comment I get. And if you think of anything else you'd like a review or a video about, let us know, and we'll have a go at finding out the information for you. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.